we start. So I'm going to invite you all to drop into your heart center and feel your energy move into your heart center. And join me in taking a couple of breaths, a couple of nice deep breaths into your heart center as your eyes are closed. Feel your whole body relax and kind of take a seat here in the heart. And just feel a nice little smile go off in your heart center. And a nice little smile corresponding on your face. And as you sit in your heart center, I invite you to just get a sense that you're coming from a place of feeling rather than thinking. So no thoughts, just let them drift off. And you're in this space of feeling. So you're feeling a resonance of what's right. And if you don't feel the resonance, you just let it go. No judgment, no thoughts about it. It either resonates or it doesn't. So feel yourself kind of entering into a space of receptivity, heart receptivity with what resonates. Take another couple of breaths now into your heart center. On the out breath, feel your body really grounding into this present moment. Feel yourself, feel your feet on the floor. Feel yourself 100% in the present moment.
Together in the front face is rather flat, straight into them both, and back on top of other recent trials they do.
If everybody could just keep themselves on mute, that'd be great. And now place your hand on your heart center.
Reorganize.
Take one more breath. And on the out breath, open your eyes and bring a big smile to your face. So, as I said, you're all very welcome. I'm here tonight with Norberto Rodrigues. He's my guest. Norberto, I'm delighted to have you here tonight. I loved the movie. It was fantastic. And I really feel a good conversation coming on. There's some good questions I want to ask you. Norberto describes himself as a Ren Xue teacher. I think he also does some healing work as well. And yeah, he's been doing this now for how many years, Norberto, have you been practicing Qigong?
Well, practicing Qigong, I started to practice with 12 years, so almost, I have never thought about that, close to 28 years of Qigong, but with Ren Xue around 12 years ago, I think.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, you're very welcome tonight, and I'm going to kick off. I'm going to get right in at the deep end with you, if that's okay. So my first question is about self-realization. And I'd like to ask you, when you talk about self-realization, what is the self that we are realizing?
The self that we refer to is our true essence, what we really are, how we exist without our bodies, without our energy, without any sort of identification. When we clean everything all these layers that are around our essence, the true self becomes true. In Ren Xue, we identify three aspects of that goes with the true self. That is the true self, the heart, the spiritual heart, and the consciousness. And they all together make part of your true essence that will be always with you. To define what the true self is very difficult, because in our language, in our structure, we don't have references to do that. And because we process our information mostly from our consciousness, it's difficult to understand something without references. So this is why when we try to find who we are, it's so difficult to have a direction, to really understand what it is, because there are no references. So the best way, or the easiest way when we start to experience is through our heart, because our heart has a very strong connection with the true self, and through the sensations and feelings that come from our heart, that sometimes they are feelings of immense love or feelings of total bliss, and so on. We can experience that there is something that is different from our body, from our thoughts, from our patterns, and so on. There is something higher than that. And then we start to create this connection until this interaction between the heart and the true self becomes stronger, and we start to peel all the layers around the true self. And at some given moment, we have this ability to see who we really are, and our true essence.
And the funny thing is that that thing that we're looking for, we already are. You know, there's no real work to find it because it's already there, and we all catch glimpses of it from time to time. You've had a very direct experience. Can you tell us the first kind of moments? And was it Qigong that led you to this kind of, do you feel that that physical movement was what led you into this place, firstly?
In my situation, so in Ren Xue we have different practices, and one of the practices is to cultivate the spiritual heart and manifest some qualities, 5 qualities, that is trust, openness, love, gratitude, and true respect. And after we create this environment, we create like a good environment for the true self to manifest. So first we start to experience these qualities in the heart. And I was practicing those for quite a long, together with other Qigong practices. And I have reached some good experience with them. I was practically mainly try to reach the state of unconditional trust. And at some given moment, life gave me challenges, quite very good quality ones.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, I had a lot of, my character is a character with a lot of determination, self-discipline, and it's like normally I have this theory: if the others can, I can also. If the others cannot, I will be the first. You know, this kind of thing to break through. So I was facing challenges, and at some given moment, was very, very difficult to do anything. And whatever I was trying, the results were the opposite of what was supposed to happen. So there was a lot of confusion, a lot of even desperation, and I start to realize my own ignorance, and start to realize how lack of control I could have of anything in life, and how I was not owning anything. You know, because we say, this is my brother, this is my mother. We always put the pronoun my, the possession, this is my. And I start to realize that mine is not real, that I don't own people, I don't own relationships, I don't own the body, I don't own my chi, I don't own anything. I cannot control anything. So at this given moment, I was totally in this kind of confusion and desperation, and also coming with these realizations together. And I was doing this special meditation that we have, that we call it Yuan, that is a dialogue between your heart and your true self. And there is a moment on that dialogue, and when we prepare that, and we create the good state and the conditions for that, we say that I give you to the true self, I give you all the freedom that you need to manifest. And on that moment, although it's just a small sentence, was like thousands of years happening at the same time. And a lot of information was coming, and suddenly I start to experience this huge amount of light and energy, and my heart was just overflow with love, and I start to cry and all those things. And since then, the change was happening.
It sounds beautiful, yeah. Beautiful moment. When you think about the character of Norberto, you know, there's a lovely quote I love, like Shakespeare has some brilliant lines. Nothing is either good nor bad, less thinking make it so, and all of the world is a stage. And so do you feel like when you think about the character of Norberto now, from the perspective that you live now, much more in a kind of an awareness of what's going on rather than being embroiled in it, how do you view Norberto now? How do you view the character, and what's your relationship like? You know, lots of people talk about the death of the ego, and it sounds a bit severe. I think it's more an integration from my own perspective. But how do you view Norberto, the character now? Is there a sense of love, a sense of joining the divine and the human joining? Can you talk to us about that, how you've incorporated the character now?
Yes, speaking in a broader sense, in the more wide view, in the universe there are laws and interactions that every small action affects every action in the universe. So there is a cause and a result for everything. And the existence of Norberto is not because of me. It's because the universe, the existence of Norberto is actually how it is. Like it is your existence or any other thing, because everything is so interconnected that there is a reason for everyone to exist. At this moment, my interaction with Norberto is an interaction full of trust and attachment. There is a full integration, but also full detachment, because I know that even I stop to exist, the universe will keep Norberto to do what needs Norberto to do. So it is not about me anymore. It's not about my identification with the persona that I'm experiencing this life. It's about the meaning of this persona that has for the other humans, for the world and the universe. Because, you know, I have this knowledge and these experiences and this thing, but some people will see me like that. Some people will still see me like I don't know, the physical education teacher. Some will still see me like the martial art. Some will be like the son or like the brother, you know. And I will be all what they need me to be.
You'll fulfill that role. Okay. Okay.
Because it's not about me. It's not about conquering anything. It's not about it's just to follow the laws of the universe. What the universe needs me to do, I will do it. And if I don't need to do it, I will not do it. And I will be totally fine with whatever comes. But whatever I do, I will do my best to do it. Whatever comes will come. I don't care.
In the first question there, when you said that, it was kind of like, it sounded to me like suffering led you to an awakening.
Suffering?
That you felt you experienced difficulties in your life, and this led you then to some kind of awakening. So in a sense, people who are looking for this experience, they seem to think that it will, and it may come if they practice, if they do Qigong, if they walk in nature, if they meditate, that it will lead them to this. But I've interviewed a lot of different spiritual teachers, and a lot of them speak about pain before the realization. And it seems to be a very recurrent theme. So when we approach pain, and it was just funny when I listened to you earlier in another interview as well, when you were talking about this period in your life being so difficult, I was thinking to myself, when I have a difficult period in my life, I really get bummed out about it. I really think like, oh, I've gone through this crap again.
Yes.
And then I thought to myself, in your experience, you were just about to be led to one of the most beautiful experiences in your life while you were in this difficult period. So it made me kind of think, And I have learned this in my lifetime, to reframe these experiences, because they really bring us to better, more evolved positions in life, you know? So is suffering a necessary part of this, do you feel?
Is not. But many times, like you said, it comes through that path. And it can be due to many reasons, because the path for each person can be very different. It has a lot to do with their own law of life, their own reference system in their consciousness, and so on. So that can be very different from person to person. But what is really important is our ability to see the things clear as they are, to gain true understanding and realization, and that comes with wisdom. In Ren Xue, we put a lot of emphasis in one very important thing, that is the work on the patterns of the consciousness. Because as you said in the before, we are ourselves. We cannot be anyone else apart from ourselves. It's just our thoughts that make us believe that we are something else. So it's like I cannot exist without myself. So whatever I go, there will be the I. There is always my existence. So how can we not see it? It's because all those patterns that many of them, they start with the survival instinct and the need to survive, like the pattern for I don't know, hiding and avoiding from the danger, or stubbornness, or greediness, and many other patterns that can come and have many different manifestations. Those patterns create a system of identification on the reality, and they have flaws, because they have when they perceive the information, the information is not a total information. So it's basically we only see one part of something, and we make an whole scenario in our minds, and we create a pattern to react to that. It's like many people might think that I will gain love if I'm wealthy, you know. So they start to pursue a lot of money because they believe that they will have money. They will receive love. They don't want money. They just want love. If they will have more love, they will not need to search for money, and many other things like that. Because our reference system has flaws. They don't know a better way to gain that thing. So to that complexity of the patterns and interactions with life and wrong identifications about who we are, it's very difficult for us to manifest the true self. So to be able to manifest the true self, we need to break through those patterns in order to see it. And that can happen in different ways. Can happen through learning from someone, to have a direct connection with someone that has overcome the pattern, so they can teach you about that. To working on yourself, learn about that and transform it. Or through moments of realization, those haha moments that happen in our lives, that suddenly we start, oh, this is what was happening, it was not another thing. And the more we build that, the more we clean those patterns, the more space we open to the manifestation of the true self. But the process of facing the patterns, most of the cases is a process that will create suffering. It's very difficult to transform them without having these things, moving inside that are so difficult. So that we start to challenge our reality, our beliefs, our things. And that is what creates the suffering, because we start to say, oh, the world should be, let's say, my family should be loving to me, but they are not. What is going here? And we start to believe, okay, but maybe they really not should be loving to me. Maybe there is another reason. We start to explore, and through that process of exploration and learning, and start to gain an understanding, is where we create conditions for us to manifest the true self-realization. It's possible to go without suffering, but it's very, very, very rare.
Yeah. That's been my experience as well, from speaking to so many people, that it is quite rare that they just do it in a pure kind of, without that, human suffering.
Yes.
But yeah, I suppose we can look at it a different way though as well. We call it suffering, but that's also another label from the mind as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we don't need to call it that.
And sorry to interrupt you, but there are also an important thing that I like to say, that there is also another very important thing. Sometimes when someone has reached realization and comes back to this form to help more people to reach realization, they need to teach to understand. And the best thing to understand what the people are going through is to use their own shoes. So if you want to talk, okay, I want to understand what is being betrayed. I can tell you a lot of words, but you will not understand until you are betrayed. I want to understand how it is to feel love, and no words are not enough. You need to experience love. So it's very important that even if we have already reached realization and you're already in a good place, if we want to help people in the time frame that we are going through, we need to have similar experience of what they are going, for them to have understanding that we understand them. It's like if someone that has never had problems in their life, they have, let's say, theoretical perfect life, comes to you, give you advice about your life, you'll say, what are you? You don't know anything about it, so why? So yes, sometimes suffering can be also a self-imposing condition that we can also generate for us to help better other people.
Yeah, it gives you a resonance then when you're talking to somebody who's you can feel they know that you know what they're going through. Yeah, it's a different, it's a different energy to it. So Norberto, the process of making the film, how long ago was the film made? How many years ago?
Well, I think it was 3 years ago, maybe. I think 3 years.
3 years ago. It seems to be getting very popular in waves. It seems like maybe it appears at a festival and then people start talking about it. But right now in the world, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree, and it feels like people are really keen to wake up to the realization that you have and some spiritual teachers have. I remember when I began the magazine that I do, Positive Life, in 2007, it was a long time ago. And I always remember that I would have events and people like you would come in and teach people. And the teacher would be very much on a pedestal, and the people listening were trying to find their way. And now I see it seems to have switched. The teacher is still a teacher, but the people listening are on a very similar level. They're really catching up now. And there's a big desire and there's a big human awakening going on, I think, on the planet. And I want to ask you a bit about that. Do you feel when you walk out in the world and you see it the way you see it now? Do you feel like you're in a matrix, first of all? And do you feel like we are going through some kind of mass awakening when you look around?
Yes, I believe so. In the past, spiritual teacher that will want to teach, first, the amount of people that he could reach was very small, because normally it will be his village or something like that, or maybe his mountain. And second, they will be very demanding. So most of the teachers, they will not choose many students to really teach them and prepare them. And also because some traditional methods that they were taught in the past, they were very difficult. And if they don't have a close guidance from a very expert teacher, they could be even dangerous. So that was one of the reasons why in the past was so difficult to open. Right now, because of a lot of reasons, even movies, books, people that are working like you, sharing the word, YouTube, really a lot of people are searching for alternative. We have seen already from the 60s that people start to share, the system should not be like this. We need to change something. It's not good like this. And a lot of things hadn't been changed through the time. But right now, due to the facility that we have to access to information and how fast it can be spread, I think is the the conditions have never been so good like they are now. And people, I think most of them, they are ready for that. It is also another thing, what I call the business of spirituality, because there are a lot of people also trying to do business. Their main goal is business, is not is not another thing, and they sit in golden chairs and all those things, you know. Yeah, it can be it's like a knife. It can be used to do a surgery to someone to save the life, or to or to kill someone. So there is a potential, and it's important that also people open their eyes to be careful. And when they are choosing a teacher, it's important that first that there is a connection. Second, that they feel in the presence of the teacher, that they are able to feel relaxed, calm, and natural, and safe. Because many teachers can show a lot of tricks and like magic tricks and all those things, and people feel very excited, but that normally is not, sometimes can be, but most of the cases is not the best. Because if a teacher has reached a very high level of realization, his energy field will be manifesting his own qualities, and those will be transmitted to the students that will be in his presence. So if the teacher is a very good level of realization, he'll be able to be at peace, at least. And if the students don't feel peace around him, that could be a sign.
It's not the right teacher, yeah, if you don't feel the peace, yeah.
Yes.
I suppose what I feel very drawn myself personally to Qigong at the moment. The reason I feel drawn to it is that when you try and go through the mind into this area, it's a tricky way to go. But when you go through the body and use the body's wisdom, you can be kind of carried there more effortlessly. And Qigong does that with some of the movements. I'd like to ask you about your own teacher, Ren Xue, and your connection with him, and what you felt when you first came into his presence.
90%.
And also, why movement is so powerful, and I suppose, is there something that differentiates this particular brand of Qigong as well? Sorry, I gave you 3 different questions there, but do your best on those 3. The teacher, the method, and yeah, whatever the third one was.
Yeah. Okay. So my first connection with Yuan Xue was very special, because it was a time when I had my lower back in the worst moment, and I have tried everything, including Qigong and other things, physiotherapy, medicine, and so on. So I was going through a very, 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 very bad moment, and the pain was so big that even taking painkillers, I could not move my legs, or I could not turn on the bed, and I was in pain 24 hours a day, and very difficult to sleep. So I was in a very, very, very bad moment, and I was searching for options, and suddenly I found him on the internet. And as soon as I saw you, I don't know how, but my heart started to experience a lot of joy. And for 2 days, I stopped to feel pain in my back, without the need to taking anything. So I thought, oh, this must be a true thing. I need to connect with him. I connect with him. I start to learn from him the system, and that how it started. But I always feel a very strong connection with him. Then the system in Qigong. Qigong is a Chinese term that translated means cultivating Qi. Qi is basically energy, but it has also the quality of information and also matter. But Qigong means that in China there are many systems of Qigong that they are helping you to use the Qi to cultivate some quality for some purpose. So in martial arts, you use the Qigong that can help you to become stronger, faster, or to have your body more able to receive impact and all those things. In Chinese medicine, you might use Qigong for health. In the Taoist methods, you can use Qigong for their methods to support their theories, the same in Buddhism and families. Then there are things that are like Qigong exercises and Qigong systems. The Qigong systems are much less than Qigong exercises. A complete system is difficult to find. And then there are the, let's say, more advanced systems that have a complete body of theory and a clear, sound path of progress towards the goal from the beginning towards the end. Up to now, my experience, and as I said, I started to practice and learn about Qigong when I had 12 years. So up to now, my experience is that I have never found a system so complete and so comprehensive and also safe like Yuan Gong, like we do in Ren Xue. The connection with the details, the purpose, the different levels where you work, everything, I have never found anything so complete. Because most of the Qigong systems, you don't even work on the consciousness or on the heart. The most of the Qigong, you do the exercises, you do the movements, and they help you to feel healthier, calmer, relaxed, and so on. So you gain benefits from that, of course. But working on different levels of Qi and working on the heart, working on the consciousness, and working out what we call the Juecha, that is a very high level of awareness from your true self, I have not found anything like that work like that up to now. And is safe.
Yeah, important. Yeah,
it's important. Yes. So it's good, and the benefits are really, really good, and because it works in so many levels and can go so deep, you can practice through all your life, and you will still have all these benefits. New benefits will come, different and new will come. I must say that there is one very simple exercise that we do that is one of the most beginners exercise, that we call it the squats. It has a different mind activity than physical squats, but I must say that I have done hundreds of thousands, probably even millions of those. I must say that even if I do it now, I will have new benefits that I was not expecting. Amazing things can still happen, and that is the most basic. The most advanced can give you a lot.
Yeah, I was going to be one of my questions later on. I was actually going to ask you if somebody is watching tonight and they are watching after we do this, we post this on YouTube and stuff, and they just decide they're not going to do any Qigong, they just have a slight interest in it. Is there one practice, and this is probably the one you're talking about, that you would say to them, just do this every day and see what it brings you? Is this the one you're talking about, the squats?
I will not say this one. I will say the standing form, because I also have a very special relationship with that form.
Okay.
That was my own personal case. That was the form that probably gave me more benefits. And I practice a lot that form. It's a still standing form and has just 3 different arm positions. And you stay there and you remain as long as you can. So I have practiced that really, really a lot, and for a long, the minimum that I was doing every day was 2 hours of that form. But I could do much more than that. The 2 hours were my sacred, that I will never stop to do it.
So in the movie, Norberto, I was very moved by your parents. There was something, it's like they just wanted, particularly your mum. I could feel your dad's emotion as well, but your mum was quite strong, I think, because she cried in the movie. But you could feel that, the sense that I got was that she felt like you may have had a difficult childhood, or you were trying to figure yourself out or something. And now the feeling I got was that she was like, oh, my son has really found his way. he's really got something that makes him so happy, and he loves what he does, and he's teaching people. So when you watched it yourself after it was made, how did you feel when you saw your parents and how they spoke about it? I'd like to know.
Well, it was beautiful. Somehow I knew that they were like that because I know that they truly love me. Although they could not understand many things, because when I was practicing, like they say, and sometimes that happened a lot. They were called by phone, I will not answer. They will knock to the door. Sometimes they will enter to my room and knock into the door because I was not answering. I will not move. And all those things I was spending on those days. Probably I was practice around, I'm not sure, but only Qigong forms, probably around 8 hours every day. And then I was also learning theories and try to apply that and try to change the consciousness. And, you know, they were worrying about me. You are getting old, you are not working. How will be your retirement and all those things. And of course, we also have our discussions, our arguments and with those things. But they know that also when I put something in my mind that I know that is for real, that is a good thing, that is very difficult to move me out from that. So they knew that their efforts were almost useless, but they were still trying it. And they didn't know about me. They didn't know about my realization, my changes. They didn't know anything about. The moment when they were in the interview was the first moment that they knew that they were not, because even the director of the documentary, she asked me, do they know already? Did you tell them? I say no. When they were coming, I say, no, mother, they were coming there because they want to make a documentary about myself. And they say, and why? And yeah, don't worry, it's just a thing, is a nice, it's a nice thing. But they didn't know about, and of course, my parents, they have really good hearts. They themselves, they have been teachers all their lives. And their students, even students that they had 30 years ago, they still have a very good relationship with them. If they say them, they say, I really love you, you were my best teacher, you know, because they were having the ability to connect to the students as a teacher, but also as human beings. And that is a part that was very important. And my parents, they always put a lot of importance in helping the others, in the also helping humanity to uplift themselves. So that moment that they saw what I was doing, that touched them deeply. And I knew that they will feel happy after. And when I saw them, I was happy to see that. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, I really felt that when I was watching it myself. I really felt that. I want to ask you now as well, just in your own personal life now, in your day-to-day life, how troubled are you by thoughts? Do you find yourself at peace, you know, like 90% of the time, 100% of the time? Or do you find yourself getting agitated just like anybody else would? Or how is your daily experience with this new realization?
So my daily life is just a random, normally life like any other human. And I should still face a lot of challenges that just come naturally in life. And most of the people that are around me don't know anything about me, so, or about this this aspect of my life. So they still interact with me in the normal old way, and they have also very strong patterns, and they will interpret me in the different ways, and they will act with that. And of course, other challenges that happen in life. The thing is, I'm not affected by that anymore. even when they are very difficult challenges, I'm not affected. I have seen already myself in arguments, and the first time that had happened was a bit strange because I was thinking, I'm an argument, I should be experience anger, but I could not feel anything apart from love. So what is going on? I remember I stopped the argument and I was like, I only feel love. What is going on? But yeah, it's still important to interact with life. You know, sometimes even the act of love people sometimes is not always being nice. Sometimes we need to be assertive. Sometimes we need to show strong wrist. Sometimes we need to challenge them also so that they can see themselves. It's just how it is. This is why I say that I just follow what the universe wants me to do, without detachment, without any personal interest or interaction. What needs to be done needs to be done. How I remain inside, I remain in a very peaceful state and in the state of unconditional trust and love and gratitude and respect and so on. Because sometimes it's strange, you know, sometimes you give lots of love to someone and that person might hate you. And they need love, you know, they need love, you give them love and they start to hate you. That can happen, it's just how it is, because they have their patterns, they have their way to interpret information, they cannot see the total reality of life. So challenge will always be around life. And we have seen that even through our story, that many amazing humans that came to humanity, even without being in a spiritual field, many times they were killed and hated just because they were sharing something that was truer than before, something that was coming to the truth. Because the patterns, they are so involved and so attached to their ignorance that they want the truth, they want to believe their ignorance. And if we challenge them, if you say, look, this is not how it is, they will say, no, you know, the earth goes around the sun, not the sun around the earth. They say, oh, okay, let's kill this guy.
Yeah, I think nobody likes to be proved wrong, you know, so in a way it's, if you try and approach it that way, it's very tricky. The patterns are fascinating what you talk about, because I remember once being in an ashram and I spent a few days there and I went into a very beautiful zone of peace. You know, everybody in the ashram would bow when they met you and put their hands on their heart. It might be similar to what you do when you practice or you go on a retreat with a big, lots of people in the Qigong world. And I remember being there, and we got into such a beautiful space. A person came in to make a cup of coffee, and they had just got off a train and they had been in a busy world and they had arrived, and they started complaining about the train journey and the heat. And this was actually in Portugal, and about the stresses in their lives. And everybody turned and looked at this person, and it was like they were full of love looking at this person, but they couldn't relate. It was like a different frequency almost. So They kind of went like this, you know, we wish you well, take care, but they didn't engage in what the person was talking about. And I remember feeling like, not that they were cruel to the person, but they just had nothing to talk to her about. They couldn't engage with her. And she just stood there on her own. And it was almost like her patterns were falling away as she realized, well, this audience is not going to give me any. She needed somebody to say, I know what you mean, it's terrible, you know, something like that, to support her in the pattern. And she didn't get that. So it was just an interesting moment. Yeah.
Yes, the search for approval is one strong pattern. A lot of people have, and yes, people can be complicated. Well, not people, the patterns themselves, because they are very tricky. This is why it's so important to really have a true understanding about them, not just because you work on yourself, but also to understand how you're going to help other people. Because the best way to help people is to talk in their language. Yuan Gong always say, I'm only one hair in front of you, the thick of the hair in front of you. I'm not in the pedestal, I'm not very high, I'm just that small about, because this is the only way I can lead you, I can take you. And this is true. You can if you go to talk a language, let's say, with people that are scientists, you need to relate them in terms that they can understand you, that they will not be triggered. If you say to scientists, don't go, it's just spirit, you don't care. I'll say, come on, guy, what are you saying? Yeah, of course, this is a sign of ignorance if we say that too. If we are going to talk with spiritual people, you don't say spirituality is stupidity, we are just matter, nothing else exists. We just need to understand how to communicate with people, how they will react, and if we have understanding of patterns and we have done a good work transforming them in ourselves and changing and grow with them, we'll start to create wisdom, and wisdom is one of the main goals in Ren Xue. We want our life to be guided by wisdom, not by intellect, not by, of course, intellect can be useful, but we want wisdom to guide our life.
I'm going to just remind people now, because we move into the second part of the evening, that please type in your questions and we'll give them to Norberto. Anything that's come up for the discussion or anything in your own life that you want to ask a question about, that's going on for you at the moment, please feel free. We'd love to hear your questions. Norberto, when we think of the younger generation and the social media generation, that they're all engaging online now. So the word I'm going to use is hack. Is there a hack? So when we think about patterns, it seems to me like a bit of a tangled web. If I go in through the patterns, I get caught in the patterns. Do you feel from where you are sitting now that there's a hack that we can go into to avoid, not necessarily avoid, but like, yeah, just a quicker way, and not even quicker, just an easier way to connect right in there? Like, I heard a teacher the other day, and he asked an audience a question. He said, ask yourself, who am I? And when you ask yourself the question, who am I? The mind doesn't know what to say, it can't engage. So it's almost like a hack directly into awareness. So I'm just wondering, from your perspective now, is there a hack you can share with people that you feel, here's a really lovely way to connect with who you really are?
There is the fastest way is going through the heart. But to really change life, and this is, if you really want to change it in an effective way, not just for a moment or a week or a weekend or something like that, in a very effective way that life will change, that you will transform your consciousness and move towards the path of self-realization, the easiest way is to do the hard work. Because there is no way. Sometimes, people can have experiences, and it's very easy to convey an experience to someone. It could be because it is in the group. It could be because they are in the presence in the realized teacher, or it could be because they experience some drugs or something like that. So for a moment they have this experience, but two things can happen. If they don't work after that, they will lose it, or they start to pretend that they have not lost it and they start to hide and avoid and fake it. And this is a thing that unfortunately happens a lot of time. To change to really experience the true self, the direct way is, the most direct way is to what we call the state of Dredcha. That is the state of true awareness that comes from the true self. It's not the observation or awareness from our consciousness, the conscious state of awareness that comes from the true self. And in order to activate that, some foundations need to be created. One is to have at least up to some level the activation of the heart, the qualities of the heart, and our ability also to question our thoughts, to self-inquire and explore our conscious, to work on the patterns, and also to have the ability to remain relaxed, calm, and natural, among other things. But these are some foundations. And then we can activate that state. That state can be, as far as I know, and this is not a new wave thing, is a thing that is really ground from very old and old traditions, and they have been tested through over time and centuries. This is the most direct way for self-realization, if you want to call it a hack. If that doesn't work, if you are not able to activate that, the foundation, I will say, to work on the heart qualities that you can focus in one, like trust or love or openness or gratitude or compassion. So focus in one quality in the heart, to respect, and try to explore that until you are able to awaken your heart, to make it be able to make it unconditional. And when I say unconditional, for a lot of people it looks a lot, but unconditional experience one heart quality is just the beginning. Because experience the heart quality, let's say unconditional love, it means that you can manifest it without needing an object to manifest it, without any condition. You don't need to have someone that loves you. You don't need to love any condition. It's just a state of being that you manifest all the time, no matter what you are doing. So this is unconditional love. But from there, love can grow a lot, really, really a lot. So unconditional is just the first stage, and then it can grow to unthinkable levels. And through that path is also a good path for us to connect with our true self. That in Ren Xue is one of foundation. But of course, we have so many patterns that activate those qualities is not that easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, there's some good tips there for people, definitely. Thank you. That was really, really good. We have some questions coming in now, Norberto. Sorry, did you want to say something more there before I go?
No, I can say this, that although people want an easy fix, because this is a pattern of cultural revolution, of industrial revolution. We want the things for yesterday, and we don't want to do the work. That is a pattern. It's just a pattern. There is no way around. We need to.
Actually, there's a question here from Alex, and asking, could the striving for awakening also become a pattern that delays awakening? If so, what could be a technique to let go of striving?
Absolutely, that could be an impediment for self-realization. In fact, that if it is too intense, it can create even problems. So the best way to do it is to have that clear direction and determination for that. And once we establish that, we kind of forget it. And we do the present moment work. Okay, I want to go, let's say, I want to go from Portugal to Ireland. So I know that Ireland is the direction. So how am I going to go there? So the first step is to know that I'm in Portugal. If without knowing that I'm in Portugal, I cannot go to Ireland. Then the second step is to realize what I need to go. Or how I want to go. Maybe I want to go by ocean. Maybe I want to go by land, or land is not possible, but at least partial for land, or by airplane. So, and how I can plan myself to do that. I need to take a strategy for that. So I do everything. And then when I have prepared everything, I just need to sit on the airplane, and the airplane will take me there. I just need to keep staying there, not jump from the airplane. And when the airplane arrives, it arrives. So this is what we need to do. We set the goal, and then we do all the preparation, all the work that we need to do to reach that goal. how is our relationship with that practice? We do our best, and what comes without attaching to any result. Because some people ask, and I've seen some people, the guys of the business of spirituality, reach enlightenment in weekend workshop. Pay me 1,000 euros per hour and you'll get enlightenment. This kind of promise doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. In my case, I was not even searching for that. That was not even a goal in my life. The only thing that I want to do is just to free myself from suffering and have a clear understanding of what was going on. That was my only goal, nothing else. And it was the same for Dory. Dory was not even thinking about that.
Yeah, yeah. I interviewed a really incredible dance teacher once, and I asked him what was the main secret to being a good dancer, and all the dancers working together and getting into that place where they just go into a zone. And he said relaxation. Yes. And it's kind of what you said there about being on the plane. You know, there's something about relaxing into the flow of life. I mean, it takes, not that it takes work to do it, but you need to be in the right place at the right time. But then you just, once you're there, you can just let the tide take you.
Yes, so we need to create, our only work is to create the conditions, because we have already a true self. Our work is not to reach the true self, is to create the conditions for the true self to manifest. That's it.
Thank you for that question, Alex. So Carolyn is asking, how do you respond to someone who is complaining and seeking validation? Is there a balance between validation and not engaging?
So if I got this question is about seeking approval or giving approval.
Yeah, so the person is complaining and they're asking you to kind of join with them. I think she's asking, is there a way that we can balance it so that she doesn't want to validate them, but doesn't want to completely not engage either. So is there some way that you can maybe help this person realize they're in a pattern in a way?
Yes, okay. I will give an answer then if it's not okay, because I don't know if I got really the question, but there are some basic human needs in different levels. When we have the body, we have basic physiological needs for the body that they are in different levels. We have social needs because we are social beings. And in those social needs, there are some very important needs that are so important for our heart, or even more than food for our body. And is the need to receive trust, the need to receive love, the need to receive understanding, the need to receive gratitude, and among other things. And also our need to give, because for us it's important to give that, although sometimes it doesn't look like it is important. So there are different kind of needs in the social level of interaction of human beings. The thing is, the other humans don't belong to us. And if they don't belong to us, they don't own us anything to give us anything. They are not in debt with us. They don't need to give us validation, and so that we don't need to give validation towards the others. The only person that has this true responsibility towards is ourselves. We are the ones that need to validate ourselves. The problem sometimes comes because we think that we don't receive validation from the others. We are not, we don't deserve love or other thing. So we block ourselves. And when we don't receive this feedback from the external world, we block even our capacity to give ourselves self-love or self-trust and so on. Of course, it's important to get validation in some situations. If I'm learning to ride a car, drive a car, I need to have validation from my instructor for what I'm doing. I just drive as I wanted. It's not this kind of validation that I'm talking about. It's validation has us as human beings, has path of life, has ideologies. We need to go inward and try to understand what is really important for us, what is meaningful for us, and what is connected with our heart, with our path, in our direction in life. Then we move on that process. So first we validate ourselves as human beings, and then we move on the process, go in that direction where we might have some people that can give us guidance, and through that process we're gonna grow, and maybe we'll see that we'll reach a new stage in life that is better than the before. But through that process we always validate ourselves, no matter if we do wrong or right. It's a process of learning and growing. Without mistakes we'll not know how to say, without having a contrast in life, we don't know what is good for us or not. So we need to understand how I know that I don't know, that I will be rejected by a boss or by an interview in a job. I go to the interview, right? I need to try, then I can get or not, but I need to go. So it's the same in life. We try, we do, and we learn from the situations, and we validate ourselves, and we grow with that. Then towards the others, because we do need this interaction with the others, if you validate yourself, you'll be also start to enter in a level of resonance with people that can validate you. Because it's like I'm doing this work with Ren Xue, and in the Ren Xue community, I have validation there. Mm-hmm. But if I go, let's say, to a soccer team, trying to be a coach there and teaching their Ren Xue, probably I will not have validation. I don't know. So the process of validate ourselves will also help us, or to love ourselves, will also help us to find the environment that will also support us on that process. We don't need the validation of the others. We don't need to search for the love of the others as a reference to love ourselves. The others are free to love us or not to love us, and that's fine. It's their own thing. But that doesn't mean that independent of what they do, that we cannot love ourselves. We cannot always love ourselves. We can always trust in ourselves, even if we do mistakes.
Thank you for that question, Caroline. I hope we can answer that question for you. Palmyra is asking, Norberto, do you teach classes in Lisbon, and is there a way to learn directly from you?
Right now, I'm just teaching online. That is the main way how I teach, and that is to do many reasons. One is because, well, there was the COVID and all those things, we stopped. Before, I had a very good friend that he was also a Qigong teacher, and he invited me to teach in his classes. So he was teaching in Lisbon in different places, in associations, and I was teaching there with him. But all these things stopped after COVID. But Lisbon is a bit, there are a few things why I'm not teaching. One is because I don't have Portuguese students. So, or maybe, well, I have a couple of them, but they are my long-term friends, and they are not even in Lisbon. And the other is because it's not easy to find a place where I can teach for a amount of time, of money, and the rent of the space normally is much higher than what I could charge for the people to go there. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit difficult at this given moment. But in the past, I used to run in-person workshops in Lisbon. That I need to organize those things. Probably after in a few months, I will do a few.
Okay, so keep an eye on, I suppose, on the main website for some dates maybe coming up. I know there's a retreat in Sweden coming up as well, which we'll talk about at the end and give people the dates. Catherine is asking, have you ever read or met with Lars Mull? He's written many books in this area. Example, The Gate of Love. Do you know of Lars Mull?
No idea.
I actually met that man in Ireland once. He's a very interesting healer, and I can't remember the name of the book. He wrote another book as well. But yeah, very similar type of. It's amazing how many strands there are in this, with different paths that all lead to the same place. You know, it's amazing. So, Carolyn, yeah. Alex is asking, where can they find your online classes?
There are a few ways where I publish them. One is the main way is on the Ren Xue Facebook group, international Facebook group. Then I also send an email on my email list, and I also put them on my website. In fact, all the workshops that I have done and courses that I have done from the beginning up to now, I have all of them and recorded on my website. So if people still want to do them, they can just go there and purchase them. Okay. And I also have this thing that I don't have on my website, but I can say there is a price, but I also work by donations. So if people don't have the money for the price, any donation is fine.
Okay. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you for that, Alex. Don't know the URL. Okay, we'll type it in at the end. Actually, yeah. Norberto, I just wanted to. We've got about another 15, 20 minutes left, so keep rolling your questions in. One question I'd like to ask you, Norberto, is when you realize what you are not, in terms of you realize you're not Norberto. Like, are we all basically one being talking to itself? I mean, am I basically asking myself questions at the moment from different perspectives? The same consciousness is in me, is in you, just reflecting back to itself all the time. It's quite a trippy thing when you realize that, you know, that it's one being just relating to itself. So I suppose what I'm asking is, when you realize what you are not, how do you describe what you actually are? So back to the true self again.
Okay, so this is a very good question. I could use 10 weeks to give you the answer. I will try to be very short. So there is a true self that is an individual true self. Everyone has a different true self. And there is one thing that is the totality of everything. And the true self, when you realize the true self, you can experience totality. That is where the sense of just being one comes through. Because you'll experience not just your body, but you'll experience also the other people, you'll experience the trees, you'll experience the birds, you'll experience the sun, the moon, you'll experience all the universe. Nothing escapes from you. And this experience of totality, you also break the level of duality. So you are not polarized anymore. It really feels like just one, nothing else. But that is not the objective truth, because that is an experience, but there is, everyone has a different true self. Then there is another thing that also happens. Your consciousness has some basic functions. One is to receive information, to process information, to store information, to retrieve information. and also to create information and send out information. But the experience of life, the experience of your body, the experience of everything that you experience happens inside of your consciousness. So basically, your experience of me is happening inside of your consciousness. It's not outside. This is also why it can be a little bit confusing. And this is also a huge thing that requires a lot of time to go deeply to gain a true understanding of this. Then after that, there is the universe itself, that is also a consciousness. They're very different from our consciousness. And our direct connection with the conscious of the universe is also through our true self. And the more you refine, the more you purify your true self and your heart, the more you be aligned with the laws of the universe until you become one with the universe. At that given moment, you just follow the laws of the universe as they are in a total 100% way. And at that moment, you can lose the I. I don't know if this makes sense to you. So there is no I anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which can sound kind of terrifying in one sense, but also it's just
wonderful.
The truth. Yeah, it's just truth. Actually, it's the truth. The mind is calling it terrifying. It's not really terrifying. Yeah. So a question from Amaya: have you perceived any avoiding reaction towards you on close people who are close to you since you experienced self-realization? Have you felt them avoiding you in any way, or even just the nature of the friendship changing because of how you are now in your own close relationships? What have you noticed?
Yes, well, there was changes of lot of people. The thing is that since I have come to Lisbon, my social life was not that great. In my hometown, because it's a hometown, it's one of those places that everyone knows everyone. So
yeah, like Dublin, yeah.
Yeah, and in 10 minutes you can be anywhere, so it's very easy to connect. In Lisbon, is a little bit more complex. You have people that work with you, and then you have maybe your family. That I don't have any family in Lisbon, and your partner if you have. So basically, in Lisbon, my main relationship is only my partner here. There was a change, yes. She also is into life cultivation, and she makes also a lot of effort to grow and to realize her true self. So this change also provides her some inspiration and challenges at the same time, which are always good. And we both have learned and grown with that process. About avoidance, I've noticed that people that are hiding things, and they have very, how to say, impure thoughts and intentions, normally they have the tendency to run away when I'm present, even if they don't know who I am. I have noticed that. But the rest, my family is still my family. We still have a good connection with everyone. It's nice.
Good. They haven't run away from you yet. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So we've about 10 more minutes, and I just wanted to ask you about love. You mentioned your own partner there, and how. So if two people can attain self-realization, and we were already self-realized, but we forget that we are. But how does a relationship look like that on that level? I mean, the current paradigm of relationships, people want to feel wanted. They want you to feel like you're never going to leave them and blah, blah, blah. We get married, we do all these things. So I often think of a relationship like this, where you say to your partner, I have no attachment to you whatsoever. If you want to walk out that door now, bye-bye. I'm fine with that, you know, which doesn't sound, which on one level may not sound very loving, but it probably is the most loving thing you could say. So
Yes.
talk to me a little bit about love from the perspective of self-realization.
Well, you mean romantic love, right?
Yes, yes. In this instance, yes.
So the thing that we want most is that that the other person is fully happy, and that happiness is independent of myself. If is happy with me, that's fine. If he's happy, go away, it's fine too. Whatever is happy for her is totally fine for me. There is no personal interest or agenda behind anything that I do. So that it's one I think is one very important thing in any relationship. But then there is another thing that also I trust in the universe and in the laws of the universe. So as long the things need to last, they will last, and as long they need to break, they will break. I don't care if they need to break, if what kind of form it takes, is they break out of love, they break out of a fight, they break out of whatever, or just because there is anything. There is not a reason. Whenever they need to break, they will break. And if they need to last, they will last. But as long they last, I'm sure that I will do the best I can to make it better every day. And learn from that.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And another question I'd like to ask as well is, when you are in the practice of moving with Qigong, how does it feel? I mean, how does it feel when you really, really drop into that place? Is it like your body's being moved? Or how does it feel?
It depends of what kind of technique you are doing, because they can have different techniques, and also depend of your own level of realization. So basically your Qigong level will grow from the practice itself, but it has some limits if you don't grow in your consciousness. So the more you grow into the consciousness, the new benefits and experience you'll have. In the beginning, when I started to practice, the first sensation was relaxation. The pain was becoming less and less. Because I was already sensitive to feel qi, I could already experience the qi around the hands, inside the body, and all those things, moving. Then it can evolve in different ways, like losing completely the sensation of the body while we are moving, or feeling strong qi sensations inside. Sometimes I even felt like the qi was moving my bones and correcting the posture, you know. Sometimes can be strong feelings, even like a strong fire that is burning inside, cleaning everything. Sometimes can be like water, sometimes can be like floating in the air. Sometimes, and these start to happen quite intensely after realization, sometimes it's just light. A very, very pure and very refined light, very special kind of light.
Wow. I think that's the best ad I've ever heard for Qigong in my life, the way you just described that. Yeah, okay, I'm in. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna. I think Kathy has a course actually next week for beginners, so I think I'm gonna jump on that. Kathy, if you're there, if you could type in the course where people can find out about it, that would be great. This is the last question then from Alex. Norberto, do you perceive time as all moments at once? If so, do you perceive your own past developmental stages as parallel moments too? Interesting question.
This is a thing that has happened a lot of times already, that is perceiving different time frames and spaces at the same time. And sometimes they could be very intense, like feeling the smells, the touch, and the temperature in different places at the same time. That can happen. And there is an experience that was very special that happened. That was a long time ago. I was going through a challenge, and I was sitting in the stairs of a building. It was a dark place, and I was really experiencing a lot of pain inside and confusion. And suddenly I felt something like a hand touching my head, and I started to feel peace. Some years after the realization, I was walking through that stairs, and I saw myself sitting there. And I put my hand on my head, and I sent peace to myself. Isn't that curious?
Very curious, yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay, that's an interesting question. Thanks for that question, Alex. So a future self healing a past one, yeah, exactly. So okay, so before we go, what I'd like to ask you to do, Norberto, is if you would guide us in a short meditation to finish off. Around the area, just like maybe 5 or 6 minutes, if you could, around the area of whatever you feel, actually. Yeah, I don't want to superimpose something. Whatever you feel suits the moment right now. Just a 5 or 6 minute meditation to finish off. If you would guide us, that would be lovely.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, so adjust yourself to a good position. Bring your vision inward and your senses inward, and slowly close your eyes. And relax the whole body. If you feel any tension, any discomfort, just send the information to relax, to let go, with total detachment. You are so relaxed that your body is melting away. And you can feel your essence deep inside. You connect with your heart. And you feel your heart very innocent and pure. And as a pure heart, you can open and connect with everyone's heart in this meeting. Our hearts are getting together, and together supporting each other's. We're gonna connect with love. The pure love in your heart. It is unconditional and is your right. Right to love and feel loved. Love is expanding out to all the planet, all the beings, expanding out to the universe, and we dissolve ourselves in the universe. And we love just for the sake of love, nothing else. There is no I, there is no you, just love. And let the love of the universe coming back to your heart. Experience the total love in your heart. This connection is always there. In a state of love, open up to your true self and invite your true self to manifest in your heart. In this pure state of being, in this state of unification between your consciousness, your heart, and your true self, deep inside, send the best wishes for you, what you like most to manifest in your life. What you want to reach. What you truly want to be. In the path to become who you really are, love will be always with you, no matter what. In every moment, when there is mistakes, when there is good things happening, in the pain and in the pleasure, in the ignorance and in the wisdom, every moment, no matter what, wherever you go, love is in your heart. Love belongs to you, and you are love. Slowly put your hands in your heart. And be with you just for these seconds. Let the most pure wishes from your heart manifest in your life. The most pure wishes, the most pure wisdom from your true self. This is a pure act of love. and love with you always. Hands to the sides. Keep this inner state, and slowly you can open your eyes.
Okay. I'm so glad I asked you to do that, because that was brilliant. Thank you. It's funny, it reminded me of, I was hosting an event once in Dublin. It was a big event, and the guy brought us on a guided meditation. And as the host, I probably shouldn't do the meditation. I should probably stay aware. And I went really deep. And when I kind of came out of the meditation, a bit like now, I saw the audience and I was, oh, I have to do an event now. I was way too relaxed, you know. But then when you're that relaxed, you do your best events, you know.
Yes,
relaxation is a really powerful thing, actually, you know. The more I think about it, the less I think about it.
Yes.
Just relax.
Don't tell anyone, but that is the secret.
Yeah.